Depression. It's a word we've all heard, maybe even used casually. But for those who've lived through it, it's something much deeper. It's not just feeling sad or having a bad day. It's that gnawing emptiness, the weight of exhaustion in your bones, the feeling that no matter how hard you try, nothing will ever feel right again. Depression isn't always visible. It's not always about tears or dramatic breakdowns. Sometimes it's that quiet, suffocating weight in your chest, when you're surrounded by people but feel utterly alone. It's the morning when getting out of bed feels like climbing a mountain, even though you've done it 1,000 times before. It's the overwhelming noise in your head, telling you that you're not good enough, or that you'll never be able to overcome the heaviness. There's a disconnect that happens. You want to reach out, to explain how you feel. But even finding the words can feel impossible. It's like you're trapped in a fog, unable to see clearly, unable to find the way forward. You feel stuck, and sometimes it feels like no one really understands or that they never could. But here's the thing. I've come to realize that depression doesn't have to define us. It's not a permanent state, and it doesn't have to be the end of our story. There's something important to understand about depression. It doesn't make us weak. In fact, some of the greatest minds in history, people who changed the world, lived with depression. Robert Frost, one of America's greatest poets, once said, "The only way out is through." He understood that life's toughest moments can't be avoided. Sometimes you have to walk through the storm, step by painful step, until you reach the other side. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds in history, said, "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." Depression, as difficult as it is, can be a place where we discover something new about ourselves. It's in these hard times that we can often learn our greatest lessons. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who fought tirelessly for justice during some of the darkest times in history, reminded us that out of the dark, the light will come. It's a message of hope that no matter how long the night feels, the dawn will eventually break. I'm not here to tell you that overcoming depression is easy or that it's something you can just snap out of. If it were that simple, no one would struggle. But I want to share something important that I've learned. Depression doesn't define who we are. It's something we can get through, even if it feels impossible. What I've discovered in my own journey is that overcoming depression isn't about pretending it doesn't exist or fighting it head-on in a way that makes you feel like you're constantly losing. It's about learning to cope, to heal, and to keep moving forward, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. I believe that depression, while painful, can also teach us resilience, empathy, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. And while it may feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, you don't have to carry it alone. You can rise. You will rise. You just have to take it one step at a time. It was the morning of May 28, 2013, just after 8 a.m. I had just started my duty at Dubai International Airport. Everything seemed normal until I received a call from home that would change everything. My mother, the person who had always been my strength, had been in a fire accident. They told me not to worry, that she was okay and getting treatment at the hospital. But even though they said she was fine, something inside me felt like it wasn't. I didn't get to speak to her. For days, no one would let me. They said she was resting, that she was okay. But deep down, I felt something was off. A week passed, and then came another call. This time, it was from my mother's sister. She asked me one simple question. "Is it possible for you to take leave from work?" It hit me like a ton of bricks. That was when I realized my mother was fighting for her life and I hadn't even gotten the chance to say goodbye. She passed away without me by her side. I was completely shattered. I went home for her cremation, but when I returned to Dubai, everything had changed. That's when the depression set in. For almost 2 years, I wasn't the same person. I lost the one person who had always been my strength. The world felt cold and dark. I turned to alcohol and smoking to numb the pain. I started skipping work, withdrawing from everything. Even my colleagues, who once treated me like a friend, now treated me like I was nothing. It was as if I didn't matter anymore. But in the midst of all this darkness, I slowly began to realize something important. By staying in this depressive state, I was only hurting myself more. I needed a change. That's when I decided to focus on something I had always loved: technology. Specifically, Android. It was the one thing that helped me forget, even if just for a little while. I spent hours in front of my computer, learning, experimenting, and recording myself. In 2 months, I started to feel a small spark of hope. It was the first time in a long while that I was doing something for myself. I haven't yet told you how the accident happened, but that's a story for another time. The point is, I learned that we have a choice. Depression clouds our vision, making us blind to opportunities and happiness that might be right in front of us. We lose ourselves in the pain and forget that we have the power to steer our own minds, to shift our focus, and to reclaim our life. The mind is our greatest asset. It can be the one thing that either keeps us trapped in darkness or guides us toward the light. It's up to us to decide which way we want to go. We don't have to let the pain define us. We don't have to lose our ability to explore life, to see the world with wonder. We have the power to change. When you're in the depths of depression, everything feels heavy, and the world seems like it's closing in on you. You don't see the opportunities. You don't feel the joy, even if it's right in front of you. I've been there, in that place where it felt like life had no meaning anymore. But here's the thing I've learned through my own journey. Sometimes, the way out isn't in finding answers or trying to force happiness. It's in discovering something new, something that lights a spark inside of you, something you're passionate about. For me, that something was technology, Android specifically. When everything around me seemed to crumble, I decided to focus on something I loved, something I had always been curious about. I poured myself into learning, spending hours in front of my computer, not to escape, but to connect with myself again. It wasn't an instant fix. It took time, effort, and a lot of patience. But with each small step, I felt like I was pulling myself out of the darkness. If you're feeling lost or stuck right now, remember this. Depression may make you feel like there's no way out, but there is a way. It doesn't always come in big gestures or grand breakthroughs. Sometimes it's just about starting something new, something that fills you with purpose, something that brings you back to life. It can be a hobby, a skill, or a passion that lights a fire in you. When you find that, it's like a lifeline, pulling you toward the person you're meant to be. So, if you're struggling right now, take that first step. Find something that excites you. Learn something new. Challenge yourself. And slowly but surely, you'll see the light again. The mind is powerful. What it focuses on, it grows. Choose to focus on what makes you feel alive. You are stronger than you realize. You are not alone. You can find your way back, one step at a time. Just keep moving forward. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen. If you're going through tough times right now, just know that you're not alone. The road may be difficult, but every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Keep going, keep learning, and never stop believing that better days are ahead. You have the power to change your story. Stay strong, stay focused, and remember, you're stronger than you think. Take care and keep moving forward.